This video is made possible with the support of our fantastic patrons. You guys are awesome. Hello everyone, my name is Alex.
And my name's Martin.
Welcome back to Affinity for Commander and our latest For the Love of Commander podcast.
Seems like only a few weeks ago we did the last one.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Where this time around we're looking at the upcoming release of Ravnica Allegiance, and what cards in the set we think will be good for EDH.
Yep, so I think we should begin with the legendary creatures of the set, which people may be looking at making into commanders themselves. So do you want to start this one off?
So my first one will be Taoiseach Karlov. For 2 generic, 1 white, 1 black, you get a 2/4 legendary creature Human Advisor with. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And creature tokens you control have Vigilance and Lifelink.
So that second part seems like quite an important bit, but also the Aristocrats theme, or the first half, seems useful as well, right?
It does seem like if I want my Blood Artist to trigger, I want my Blood Artist to trigger twice.
Yeah, so there's 2 different routes you can really go. Tokens, which you want to have extra keywords, or Aristocrats doubled.
But why not both?
Why not both indeed?
She does seem good. She doesn't seem as good as the old Taoiseach, which meant that anything that touched you died. That was a nice Taoiseach.
Yes, but that Taoiseach was 7 mana. This one's 4.
True.
Whereas the 3 mana Taoiseach is good, but I prefer this one. I think that 1 extra mana is worth it for the ability that she provides. I think she'll see some play.
Oh yeah, which you can say because you're an aristocrat.
Another of the commanders is the Gruul one, Nakia, or Nakia. How do you think it's said?
Let's have a look. I would say Nakia, and could someone correct us in the comments, please?
Please do. Nakia of the old ways, then, is a 5 mana legendary creature Centaur Druid, that says you cannot cast non-creature spells, and whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. So you can't play non-creature spells, but you can tap your land for double mana to play the creature spells you're playing.
She would make a very good card in the 99 for a Rurik Thra deck.
Yeah.
Because that deck doesn't care about non-creature spells.
It's certainly a build-around card. You can't just have this in a normal deck.
No, you can't windmill slam this into any deck.
But it's certainly an interesting one. 5/5 for 5 by itself.
It's a good Miara's Wake effect, which are always nice.
Yeah, I can see that having some play.
Keeping on with my aristocrats theme, Judith the Scourge Diva, the most extra of the commanders. For 1 generic, 1 black and 1 red, you get a 2/2 legendary creature, Human Shaman. With other creatures you control get +1/+0, a half anthem effect. And whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourge Diva deals 1 damage to any target.
So it's another go wide strategy then.
Yeah, this is also just combo-tacular. It's another Blood Artist effect that if you have an infinite loop going with any of the usual suspects, then she can just immediately kill your opponents, which is always nice to have.
Yeah, I thought like as well it's a bit of a board wipe insurance. If they want to board wipe, they're taking a lot of damage for it.
That's a good point, because it is any target. It's not Blood Artist where it's all people. It's one specific person. That's the only thing that I don't like. It's not each opponent. It's any target. So it's only hurting 1 person. That's the only thing that makes me think an EDH maybe not to. But if you can do it infinitely, then you can just distribute infinity 3 times. It's still infinity.
Yeah. But as a commander, I don't think it's going to see much play. She's not good.
I think she'll see a bit of play. She's a combo piece in your command zone, which is always nice.
Yeah. But it's just the any target bit that gets me. If I did say any play, I'd definitely say, like each player rather.
Blood Artist isn't legendary, Martin, no matter how much we wish it.
I wish it was. The next creature, sticking with the Rakdos theme, was Rakdos the Showstopper, a 6 mana 6/6 flying trampling demon. Whenever Rakdos the Showstopper enters the battlefield, flip a coin for each creature that isn't a demon, devil, or imp. Destroy each creature whose coin comes up tails. So, another coin flip commander.
If anyone plays this when someone's just played a Ventress Zendikar, I'm leaving the table.
It is one of those things where I thought the partner commanders whose names escape me with coin flippy, the red and blue ones.
I know that we'll have them up on the screen. Yes, I know who you mean.
They were good coin flip commanders because lots of coin flip cards are red and blue.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this isn't quite the same because there's not really many black coin flip cards.
I don't think it's meant to be coin flip. I think it's meant to be chaotic.
Yeah, but if you do put the Crack's Thumb in,
yes.
that's going to be funny. It's like, oh, I didn't blow your board up, let's try again. But I think as a chaos commander, it certainly does its job.
Yes. If you want people to not want to play Magic, perfect, go for it.
But the fact that it's not just a straight board wipe is...
it can hit a token and whiff on the big threat on board.
Yeah, so I don't think he'll see much play at all. He's might be in a demon tribal.
Yeah, he's funny but not explosive.
Funny but not great.
Unlike our next entry, Prime Speaker Vanitha. For 2 generic mana, 1 green and 1 blue, get a 2/4 legendary creature elf ooze wizard.
Ooze.
I'm keeping that in. Tap, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a creature card with a converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only any time you would cast a sorcery birthing pod on a creature. Someone at Wizards has literally Control Seed, Control V'd birthing pod, and put 2/4 at the bottom of the card.
Well, there's quite a few cards like that in this, isn't there, where they've tried to make fixed or fairer versions of iconic cards, which is cool to see.
But you don't need us to tell you this card is broken. There's already many CDH lists out there. There are already many lines that you just have this out, a 1-mana creature, tap it, sacrifice it, and you then go through the chain and just win. Yeah,
because the main way that I can think of is a way to untap this. You get rid of, like, say, a 1-mana creature, keep going until you get Avenger of Zendikar, then do the same thing for one of those plant tokens until you get Crater of Behemoth, and then you've instantly got, like, a lot of creatures that can swing for lethal straight away, or combos as well.
Or you can just, you don't even have to be smart about it, you could just play Intruder Alarm with this card and just win like that if you're just bored. It's a fantastic card.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes it worse than Birthing Pod is, for one, it's 2 colours, and for 2, it doesn't have haste like an artifact does, unless you find a way to give it.
That's the main problem. It's in Simek, it doesn't have haste, and everyone and their cat is brutally aware that it's there. You can't hide your commander.
So it's one of those where it's going to be the next combo-tacular commander. So it's going to see play.
Exactly.
The next one I have is the only mono-coloured legendary in the set, which is the Horde of Hightower, a 6-mana 3/3 legendary creature vampire. And it has flying and lifelink, so some pretty decent keywords. Whenever the Horde of Hightower attacks, defending player discards a card.
It's okay.
It's a thing. But the important part is, whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on the Horde of Hightower. Now, considering this card has lifelink, that is going to do some life-changing, life total changing very quickly.
Him to Turak everyone.
And you just need to wheel, and then this thing's going to be massive instantly. It's going to be like +15, +15.
Maybe not commander, but definitely an advantageous creature to have in wheeling deck.
Well,
Nekazar.
He's going in Nekazar, for sure.
Go.
And he's also going to go in Edgar, I would say, because although he's 6 mana,
he's still a beefy vampire.
Even though he comes in as a 3/3, he's going to be at least a 6/6 in a couple of turns' time. He's going to have value. He's one of those you have to deal with, or else he's going to get silly very quickly.
And our cheapest legendary creature on this list is Lavinia, Azureus Renegade.
In terms of mana cost, I don't think price-wise she's going to be cheap for long, considering the modern speculation around her.
She is 1 white, 1 blue for a 2/2 legendary creature, human soldier. Thanks, Wizards. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. And whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell.
So 2 very relevant abilities there for EDH.
It is, you can't make infinite mana and kill someone.
And you can't use mana rocks.
You also can't use mana rocks to cheat out bigger costs. So if you've kept a sketchy hand but load of mana rocks and someone plays this, you still aren't playing that 4-drop with 3 land.
And it is one of those cards that is going to come out, one of the earliest commanders to come out physically.
It will always be turn 2.
The control player is going to play it before you can stop it and then counter everything you try and do to get rid of it. So you are in trouble if this comes out and you're playing rocks rather than ramp.
It stops a lot of win conditions. It stops people Torment of Hailfire or Comet Storming. It stops a lot.
If you're trying to cheat out cards from your graveyard for free or cast cards for free with super effects. That's
like the Expertise series. Those are just completely neutered now.
Yeah. I think it's very powerful. Going to see a lot of play either as a commander or in the 99 of control decks.
Or just stacks effects.
Yeah. And our final legendary creature is not quite Prime Speaker Zagana. Zagana, Utopian Speaker. She's been demoted. 4 mana, 4/4 Merfolk Wizard. When Zagana, Utopian Speaker, enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, draw a card. Seems easy enough to do.
Yeah.
And 6 mana, adapt 4, which is if it has no +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. I can see Azuri having this in just in the 99.
This gets windmill slammed into Azuri. You would have a hard time arguing Azuri is not as good as a Simek +1/+1 counter commander.
Yeah, I don't think she'll see any play as a actual commander because of the adaptability doesn't seem good.
It's fine. It's not what you want to be doing for 6 mana.
To me, if you compare this to Monstrous, because everyone does. Monstrosity is you pay a lot of mana into a creature to make it bigger, but usually has another effect. Like if you look at Pelucranos, it finds things. Whereas this says you pump mana in, but don't get any extra effects. You essentially pay 10 mana for an 8/8.
The other creatures you control plus most cards have trouble is a nice little effect, but again, it's more relevant in the 99 of an Azuri than by herself.
Yeah, but overall, I think the legendary creatures of this set are very powerful.
Oh, they're very nice. I'm deeply looking forward to them.
Yeah, it's gonna Ravnica. We expect this to have some good commanders.
This is a set that I'm quite looking forward to.
So moving on from the cards you can play as commanders to cards you cannot play as commanders, but may be useful in the 99. We shall begin with a white. You want to go
starting
first?
in Wooburg order. Firstly, we'll go with Unbreakable Formation. This is an instant for 2 generic and 1 white mana. Creatures you control gain indestructible. It also has the new keyword, Addendum. If you cast this spell during your main phase, you put a +1/+1 count on each of those creatures and they gain vigilance until end of turn.
Yeah, so Addendum's one of those things where it gives you reason to play instants in your own turn, which I don't know how I feel about that. It's like
I like this because it gives you options. It can either be your instant speed, save your board, which is always funny to be the only one left after a board wipe, or it can be I have a bunch of tokens, they're all now indestructible,
and
bigger, and have vigilance so you don't have to worry about the crackback.
Yeah.
Hit someone.
Yeah, I think definitely giving your stuff indestructible is insanely powerful instant speed. It's like Heroic Intervention, but white.
Yes, it's
and a bit more.
Exactly. I will be surprised if I don't see this card played against me, because you can even board wipe yourself, and not in response, you play this, your main one, then you cast your own board wipe.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I really think it's going to see some play in Celestia and token-based decks.
Definitely.
First one I've got down that caught my attention is Forbidding Spirit. It's a 3 mana 3/3 Spirit Cleric that is Ghostly Prison, but on a ghost. So why I like this, maybe more so dare I say than Ghostly Prison itself, is the ability reads, when Forbidding Spirit enters the battlefield until your next turn, creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller plays 2 for each of those creatures. Now, why I think this may be better than Ghostly Prison in certain decks, I wouldn't definitely say it was overall, because Ghostly Prison is just a flat-out attacks, is that if you have this in, say, a Flicker deck, a Rune of the Hidden Realms, or something similar, you can flicker this card, and the rulings are, because we read the release notes just before, the ability is until the end of turn, regardless of whether Forbidding Spirit's on the battlefield. So if I interpreted this correctly, if you flicker him and have him enter the battlefield twice, he gets 2 stacks of the same effect, so they have to pay 4 per creature that attacks. So if you do have a ability to flicker him or to do something with him so he leaves and comes back, or copy him, you're going to get multiple instances of the trigger. So the tax can be as high as you need it to be, provided you can flicker him as many times as you can.
He does also have one thing over Ghostly Prison, whereas Ghostly Prison doesn't protect Planeswalkers. This does.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
My next white card is Angel of Grace. For 3 generic mana and double white, you get a 5/4 angel with flash and flying. With, when Angel of Grace enters the battlefield, until the end of turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead.
Now, that's a card that I initially didn't like, and then you kind of persuaded me around to seeing the light.
Was that an angel joke?
It was a really bad one, but yeah.
It's the fact that it's 5 mana white save you.
Yeah. So...
If someone's just Crater Huffed and is not even bothering to do the math, then you can go 5 mana, I don't die this turn.
I live an extra turn.
You have it. Hey, that's sometimes all you need if they've tapped all their creatures and they were thinking you're going to have to block all of this. You go, nope, not going to block any of it, swing back, kill you.
Yeah, which can be hilarious.
Exactly. I really want to see someone get blown out by this card, or just someone going, worship at instant speed.
Is that your goal for at some point in the channel you're going to do this and then just sit back and relax?
Maybe. I don't even care if I win that game. If I blow one person out with it, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and its stats aren't too bad as well as it's
no, a 5/4 for 5 mana with flash and flying. That's still pretty okay.
Yeah. Next card I saw was Impassioned Orator. It's a 2 mana 2/2 human cleric. For whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. So it's Soul Sisters again.
Half.
Yeah, slightly more expensive mana cost, slightly worse ability. But in a token-based deck like Gave or Tristani, then you are going to be gaining life. Why not have more ways of gaining life?
Exactly. It's a perfectly fine card.
And at the end of the day, it's a 2/2 for 2. If nothing else, you can just throw him underneath something that's bigger.
Bear.
So, yeah. Bear.
My next card is White's answer to touristic study, Smothering Tithe.
That artwork, though.
It's lovely artwork. For 3 generic mana, 1 white, you get an enchantment with, whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 generic mana. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token.
See, I like this because things like Ristic Study, it is known you should pay the tax because drawing cards is powerful. But I think this, although it's a powerful thing making treasure, I don't think people will see it as that much of a threat until you've got too much treasure for them to really stop you.
It's ramp in white, which is absurd. And it's just... White's always struggled at ramping, and it also means the mono-white player now gets to say, you're going to pay the 2. You're going to pay that 2.
Yeah, I like it. It's sneaky. It's not super threatening, but it's so powerful in the right condition.
I love it. I also love that flavor text. I await your donation.
And the last white card that I found was Tithe Taker. For 2 mana, it's a do-1 human soldier. During your turn, spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate cost 1 more to activate, unless they're mana abilities with Afterlife 1. Definitely the worst out of all the cards we've mentioned, I would say, but I just like that extra tax ability. I think, being able to say, are you going to kill my creature? It's going to cost you more. Or if they haven't prepared for the tax, maybe they've overlooked this or you've put it down that turn, and they're holding up 7 mana for Cyclonic Rift, and you go, it's now 8 mana, and they don't activate it in response.
Yes, it is one of those little annoying cards that
you've got to keep attention on it, or else you're going to mess up. Yeah. So, not fantastic, but if you're going to play a taxes deck...
Yeah, if you're going to play some death and taxes, you may as well. Moving on to the blue cards, the next card that is going straight in my Mizzix Steely deck, Mass Manipulation.
Oh boy.
This is probably the highest, well it will be, but when it's cast, the highest costed card I'll ever see.
That devotion to blue.
Double X and 4 blue mana for a sorcery. Gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers.
So in Mizzix, you're going to easily be taking 6 things, if not more.
Oh yeah, even if I just pay this for the 8 mana of experience counters, I'll still take the 4 best creatures and or planeswalkers on the board.
Yeah, it's basically blatant thievery, but...
And then get an experience counter.
Because you cast a big thing, yeah. And the fact you can take planeswalkers is powerful as well. If you let them get to the point where their planeswalker's nearly ultimating and you go, now this is mine to ultimate.
This is only a card for decks in blue, obviously, that have a huge amount of mana they can dump, like Mizzix or a Crew Fix deck.
Yeah.
You need to have just mana floating constantly to take advantage of this.
Oh yeah, it's the same as... What's the Sultai one where you...
Villainous Wealth.
That's the one. It's similar to that in terms of you need to be able to cast it for a lot or else it's not really helpful. The first blue card I have is Benthic Biomancer. It's a 1 mana 1/1 Merfolk Wizard Mutant because they've really gone all in on the creature types for Simek. It's just a 1/1 with Adapt 1 for 2 mana. But the important bit is whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on this creature, draw a card, then discard a card. I think that in a counter-based deck, this early game extra looting could make a difference.
Like Azuri.
Yeah, like if you can get this out early and be able to loot several times in the first few turns, you're going to get a better hand to play with, which can make the difference in an EDH game. Keeping an okay hand, but then being able to cycle through your deck faster is going to be so helpful in getting control of the game.
Especially when you move the counters around.
Yeah.
My next blue card is Verity Circle. For 2 generic mana and 1 blue, get an enchantment with whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped. If it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. You may also pay 5 mana for 4 generic and 1 blue to tap target creature without flying.
RIP my Seton deck, because it doesn't say, does this excludes a mana ability? It doesn't care.
So, are you playing any elf deck? That's a shame. I'm going to draw all of my library, which the mono-white player gets to now say, you're going to pay 2 for each of those draws.
It's a very cool card. It's not like for every situation, but most decks will have tappity things.
I might try it in Derevi. Tap down your creatures, draw some cards.
Yeah, very powerful in Derevi.
It is also, if you have nothing else to do, you can 5 mana tap down your biggest creature. It's not swinging this turn. Why not?
Next one I have is Eyes Everywhere, a 3 mana enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1, and for 6 mana, 5 and a blue, exchange control of Eyes Everywhere and target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Now, you know how much I like swapping my things with my opponent's things. I do it in Breyer, I give them Thopters in exchange for their commanders. My vampire deck, I like to bite their creatures and take control. I just feel like, what's the point of having something big and scary on my side of the board when I can just steal it from you and then you don't have it, so it's a 2 for 1. So why I like this, even though it's 6 mana for the exchange, if you give it to a person who's not playing blue, they cannot use its ability to get their thing back or anything back at all. You're essentially going, you can now scry 1 in your upkeep, but I control your commander. Which I think is a great trade. You can't really argue with that.
The only thing that pulls me back from this card is that you have to do it at sorcery speed.
Yeah, but it would be very broken to be able to steal their commander as they're attacking you with it.
That's why I would want to play it.
But I think it's quirky. It's funny, I like my weird decks.
Yeah, it's a funny card.
And at the worst, it's 3 mana enchantment, scry 1 in your upkeep. That's not terrible.
That's Thassa.
That's Thassa without a 5/5 indestructible body on it.
Yeah, I love Thassa. My last blue card is Persistent Petitioners, because I love breaking the rules. For 1 generic and 1 blue, you get a 1/3 human advisor with 1 mana, tap. Target player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. And tap 4 untapped advisors you control. Target player puts the top 12 cards of their library into their graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Persistent Petitioners.
So it's Relentless Rats and that Apostle, Shadowborn Apostle. But it's blue this time instead of black.
Blue, and it's all about the mill, so 1 blue-black god is happy.
And I also like the fact that it says tap an advisor, 4 advisors. It doesn't say this.
No, there are other advisors.
And there are quite a few legendary advisors from the older sets, the ones where horsemanship was a big thing.
Oh, funny keyword.
So you can literally just be like, I'm going to go full in advisor hilarity. The only thing that stops this being viable is there are lots of cards like the Old Titans that say you shuffle this back into your library with your library when it gets milled. So you can't really mill someone else unless you can stifle the ability.
Or surgical extract it.
Yeah, but you have to play black at that point.
But otherwise, yeah.
It's a
funny card.
Yeah, why not give it a go? So moving on to black. I'm going to start that off with a card that speaks to me on a personal level. Font of Agonies. For 1 black mana, you get an enchantment that says, whenever you pay life, put that many blood counters on Font of Agonies. And for 1 and a black, remove 4 blood counters from Font of Agonies, destroy target creature. You get this out early, and then you play a card that says pay X life or pay a certain amount of life, do an ability.
Or read the bones, Phyrexian Arena. Most of Black's draw is losing you life.
Yeah, but there's lots of creatures as well that say pay so many life, do something. Like the new green-black one that says pay 4 life, I think it is. We'll put it up wherever
It'll be on the screen.
And then you can give it indestructible to the end of turn.
I know exactly the one you mean. Underground Lich?
Underground Lich.
That's the one.
Just pay that ability a few times. Who cares if it's indestructible? You just pay 12 life. Yeah. And then you have 2 mana to kill a creature forever. Like, you can just stockpile those counters on there.
Better yet, play Toxic Deluge. Wipe the board. Do it for 8 life. You have 8 counters, and from now on you have 2 creature removals just sat there.
And if you have a way of proliferating those counters, then you're never going to run out of counters for it. Sticks in a Traxer.
That's pretty. Just is it not red? Stick in a Traxer, it'll be fine.
So I think it's for the ability, paying life is usually a negative to a cost. This making it a less negative thing is really handy.
And for 1 mana, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
My next one is Vindictive Vampire. For 3 generic mana, 1 black, you get a vampire and a 2/3 body. Whenever another creature you control dies, Vindictive Vampire deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Your deck can't have enough Blood Artist effects in it.
Yeah,
it just can't. It's 4 mana for a 2/3. It ain't great. But if someone's decided to exile your Blood Artist because, well, of course they should, then this is another way to get around that. That effect is just always good. It's each opponent, and you gain life back from it. It's what it says on the tin. It's a good card.
My next one, I'm going to take a bit of a break from these are the best cards to go with our flavor text win of the set.
Would you like me to read it out?
I want to read it out. I know you've got the better voice, but it's my card. I'm going to read it.
He's going to read it.
It's a Catacomb Crocodile, which is a 5 mana 3/7 crocodile. And the flavor text is just beautiful. So, I am Sewer King, said the rat. I am quick and cunning, and I know every tunnel. No, I am king, said Zombie. I am cold and deadly, and no rot can harm me. Then Croc came and ate them both. I just think that is hilarious. Like, yeah, you can be a zombie or a rat, and just crocodile doesn't say anything, he just eats you. So he gets flavor text win of the set, without a doubt. And for 3/7 for 5 is limited playable, maybe?
Yeah, like, limited playable.
Trying to save the card for it.
Moving straight along.
Moving on to the next, our previously scheduled events.
Next one, Priest of the Forgotten Gods. A 1 generic mana, 1 black human cleric 1/2. With tap, sacrifice 2 other creatures. Any number of target players each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. You add 2 black and draw a card.
Having mana ramp plus drawing cards
plus
a sacrifice outlet.
So you got on 1 card you have a sacrifice outlet, a drain opponents, a opponent's sacrifice creatures, ramp, and draw a card. There is a lot going on for 2 mana.
Yeah, it seems very powerful. It's going straight in my Mirren deck because sacrificing creatures is helpful, but also causing your opponents to lose value.
In something like Gave or Prosh, where you're just making tokens left, right, and centre, she's just fantastic.
Okay, so moving on to red. Not that much EDH value in red, I don't think, this time around.
Red is terrible in Commander.
Blasphemy.
Don't at me.
Red can be good in Commander, but I don't think the cards we have seen in this particular set are very good in Commander. There's a few that do stand out, though. So I want to start with Immolation Shaman, which is the 2 mana 1/3 Vyashnu, lizard person, shaman. We are so bad at pronouncing these. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability, Immolation Shaman deals 1 damage to that player. And for 5 mana, Immolation Shaman gets +3/+3 and gains menace till the end of turn. No one really cares about that bit.
No, okay. The first bit's just annoying.
It's just, I'm going to pull this little dude out, and he's going to slowly ping you when you do stuff, but it's not quite annoying enough to really warrant a destruction spell, like a kill spell.
I wouldn't waste my swords on it.
No, it's like you're going to get pinged, but it's not irritating enough to kill it.
And then eventually it'll deal you 5 damage and you'll realise what the hell is going on.
Yeah, like, it's just a little bit of wear that might put you ahead enough to help you win. It's not fantastic, but I just think it's funny. And I can't pronounce what it is. One
card that I do think is excellent. Electro Dominance.
That sounds pretty S&M.
That honestly, I thought I'd just sound like a Norwegian death metal band.
Oh, sick.
For X and double red, you get an instant with Electro Dominance deals X damage to any target. You may cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying the mana cost.
So it's just a card, it's not an instant or sorcery, it's a card.
Nope, the release notes dictate that you can play a creature, a sorcery, an enchantment, an artifact. You cannot play a land, but yes, anything you want as long as it's less than X. So, burn someone to the face, play something for free, because it's a good card like that.
It does seem incredibly powerful to, like you say, bolts or more someone and then play a card just because.
Again, especially in a deck like Mizzix where I've just got mana floating for no reason. Deal you 8 damage with just experience counters, drop Blatant Thievery.
And it is a cast as well, so you get any cast triggers you get. If you decide to go Emrakul the Promised End, you get the cast trigger.
You get the cast trigger, you are casting it.
You've got to spare 15 mana floating around.
Yeah, that's easy in Commander.
A solid card. The next one I have is Rumbling Ruin, a 6-mana 6/6 elemental. When Rumbling Ruin enters the battlefield, count the number of +1/+1 counters on creatures you control. Creatures your opponent control are power less than or equal to the number can't block this turn. It's not going to be good in every deck, but if you have a counter-based deck that isn't just blue-green...
Like original Bulbarigmos.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those cards where you drop it and it says your opponent can't block this turn.
Yep.
And it's 6/6 for 6 at the worst with that anyway. It also gets around decks that have gone wide and you just go, okay, I've got a 1/1 counter on one of my dudes because I just put it there somehow. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to make it so your tokens can't block and swing at you.
One of the big problems big decks have is just chump blocking. This just says no.
Yeah, it's not quite give everything trample, but it's...
No, which means you can't block, which is better than trample, really.
Yeah, and if you have, say, one Infecty Boy that has lots of counts on it, and you go 6 mana, you can't block it. But I think it's okay. It's not amazing, but like I say, it's slim pickings for good cards for EDH here. So
the other red, or the last red card that we're going to be talking about, is Mirror March. For 5 generic mana and 1 red, you get an enchantment with: whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, flip a coin until you lose a flip. For each flip you won, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste, exile them at the beginning of the next end step. The only reason this card is in here is because you know someone's going to play something big and get 6 flips in a row and it's just going to decimate the entire table. It will whiff as well, but there'll be that one glorious time where it works.
Yeah, it's another chaos card. It looks like it's supposed to be an Izzet card, but I would stick it in with Rakdos, the showstopper.
It seems Rakdos-y, seems Mardu-y. Moving straight on to the good colour, green!
How you have changed from your blue love. So, first green card I want to chat about is Incubation Druid. So 2 mana 0/2 elf druid, so Seton's happy. Tap, add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. So weird not saying like 2 mana per what. It just doesn't feel quite right.
Well,
if Incubation Druid has a +1/+1 counter on it, add 3 of that type instead. And you can put 3 +1/+1 counts on it for 5 mana. There's easier ways of putting counts on it.
That bottom bit doesn't have that.
I mean, I suppose it's technically 4 mana because you can tap the Druid itself if you need to. But there's easier ways of putting counters on it, and it's just insane. It's like a Lotus.
There are so many easy ways. Forgotten Ancient, moving counters over. You can have Path of Discovery putting counters on it. Gave can put a counter on it.
Yeah,
Azura can put a counter on it. It's an absurdly good card.
Tapping for 3 mana, and it comes out turn 2. So let's say by turn 3 you've got a counter on it.
It's just fantastic.
Let's say you play this turn 2, and so I'm playing my Seton deck, for example, and I play Rishgar Pima Renegade turn 3. Put a counter on this, counter on Rishgar.
Boom.
This taps for 3. I play 3 more 1-drops.
Perfect.
Or just drop your commander that turn. Yeah. It's going to get out of control quickly. The ramp is real.
I love that card. Our next green card is one we disagree on, but I love it. Rampage of the Clans. For 3 generic, 1 green, you get an instant. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green centaur creature token.
So, you explain why you like it first, I'll explain why I don't like it as much.
I love it. It's instant speed, it destroys all artifacts and enchantments, mass removal, 4 mana, instant speed, in green, just perfect.
Okay, now I look at it as when you board wipe or you blow up one person's things in a 4-player game, they're going to look at you and go, that wasn't very nice. I'm going to swing all my stuff at you now until you die. Let's say you do that with the Brayer player and you give them 7 3/3 centaurs. There is no doubt in my mind all of those centaurs are going at you until you're dead. So unless you can do this, but you've got to have like a way of dealing with the 3/3s coming at you afterwards, because they will be coming at you.
Well, it's instant speed, so you can do it. Say you do it at the end of the Brayer player's turn if they're sat immediately to your left, and then you have 2 other people's turns for them to do something, and then you have your own turn to do something. You can always plan around it. That's if it was sorcery, I might not have put it in the list. It's the instant speed of it that makes it lovely.
I'll have to see it in action in order to change my mind, but I'm still seeing it as...
I'll tell you what, I'll make sure I get one.
Oh, is that a threat?
You can play your Brayer deck. We'll see how it goes.
Well, then I can just prove the point of everything's coming at you when you blow my board up. But yeah, it's one of those where it is very gruel. I'm going to smash things and you're going to die before this comes back at you.
Would you like some flavor text?
Go on.
Rage. Rage until the whole world burns.
Very
gruel,
angry.
Very gruel.
So the next card is Sulhana Wayfinder. It's a 2-mana 2/1 elf scout. Whenever Sulhana Wayfinder enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them, put it on top of your library, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, this card is very reminiscent of Satyr Wayfinder. Even in the art, it's basically the same pose.
Your bay.
My bay Satyr Wayfinder. But it's strictly worse because, 1, the card you pick doesn't go to your hand. 2, the cards that you don't pick don't go in the bin. I feel like putting some in the graveyard is handier than putting them on the bottom of your library. And 3, it's not a Satyr. That is relevant in so many ways. But it is an elf, so that's useful.
It's an elf.
But why I've chosen it for the list is, if you have a way of blinking it, you can do that in the turn before your own, so that when you go to draw on your own turn, you can draw the card you want.
Yeah, or you can do it in your own upkeep if you're really that desperate.
Yeah, so you can find a way of looking 4 cards deep and putting the best card in your hand. So definitely on a blinky deck, this is handy. But even if not on a blinky deck, I feel going 4 cards deep instead of 1 card deep is going to be useful.
It's not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's
alright.
He's alright.
My next card is Guardian Project. For 3 generic mana and 1 green, you get an enchantment with: whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. Let me just reword that for EDH. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card.
Unless you've stolen something from your opponent, which happens to be in your deck as well.
If you've stolen something from your opponent that's the same creature as the one that you're going to play, sure.
Then you don't get to draw. But otherwise, yes, it is. Play a creature, draw a card.
It's fantastic. I've seen people play Path of Discovery constantly for the +1/+1 counter and drawing ability. This is 4 mana strictly draw a card. It's good.
It's very good. Although it doesn't hit tokens like Path of Discovery does.
If this hits tokens, my word.
No, what I'm saying is, in my CDC deck, making a zombie by milling cards, you get to Path of Discovery.
True.
Which you can then make another zombie from.
But can you imagine this in something like Prosh or Gave?
Oh, it would be
Play
broken. It'd be insane.
Prosh, draw 7.
It would be crazy. Next card I've got Wilderness Reclamation, which is a 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Now, it doesn't say at the beginning of each end step, untap all lands you control. It just says beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. But still, being able to go, I'm going to tap out, play my big creatures, do whatever I need to do, but also have mana open for your turn to stop what you're doing or to protect my stuff.
Essentially,
handy.
Doubles your mana.
Yeah, you have to have a nice balance of stuff you want to do in your turn and stuff you want to do in your opponent's turn. But I think like decks like the Yeva, the everything has flash,
or Drevi, where you just play the commander. Yeah,
like things where you have options are going to be useful. I was about to say positive Crufix, but RIP positive Crufix.
Positive Crufix.
It just seems like it gives you more options.
Yes, any deck with green that's highly interactable,
or even things where you can pay abilities to, like on enchantments or on creatures, pay X mana, do something. Being able to go, I'm going to play my creatures but still be able to do this in the next turn is going to be cool. And it's an uncommon as well, which I think is sick for an uncommon.
And going into a theme of things Wizards is trying to fix, Endres forerunners. For 5 generic mana and triple green, you get a 7/7 ball creature with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. When Endres forerunners enter the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample until end of turn.
This is a bit like Decimator of the Province, is it? The Eldrazi ball, but that doesn't give things Vigilance, that just gives them +2/+2 Trample.
I think this is just a attempt at a fixed Craterhoof.
Yeah, but so was the Decimator, right?
Yeah, same mana cost, Trample, Haste, but it's, you don't have $22 for Craterhoof. This is pretty much not just as good. Well,
it's nowhere near as good, let's be honest.
Yeah, but instead of the Craterhoof where it will come down and you will just hit and kill everyone on the table, this is still enough to put down and you will probably at least be able to clock one person out of the game. And then you have the Vigilance to make sure that you don't get hit back by every other person at the table.
Yeah, I feel like Vigilance is important because the second you play that, people are going to be like, right, he's a threat killer.
It's a swings around, but Craterhoof gives you the power so you can hit everyone and not worry about the hit back because everyone is dead. This gives you the Vigilance so that you can take some hit back.
Yeah. So we're going to cover the colourless cards and the lands very quickly in one group, I think. Yeah. There's not many of them.
Not really.
You don't need us to tell you Shockland's good.
Shockland's good, and that art. Which is your favourite art?
Honestly, I haven't looked at much of the art for the Shocklands because I don't do Shocklands very often. They've been outside of my budget for a while, but this will hopefully fix that. I more look at the Guild Gates because I play Guild Gates in my deck because I'm that kid. And I like some of the Guild Gate arts and these are beautiful. I'm torn between going, but this is because I started playing in Return to Ravnica. This is my original playing Golgari Guild Gate and I like it because it's sentimental, but the new one's pretty and I get torn up which one to play. So that's my greatest struggle in life right now. What Guild Gate should I play? Because there's like 2 different versions of each one in this set, right? Plus 2 different sets worth of Guild Gates. There's so much art to pick from.
The Stomping Ground art is the nicest, was the answer I was looking for. Moving on to the artifacts.
There's not many good artifacts. Let's say anything with the word Guild Pacts in it.
Yeah, Tomb of the Guild Pact. 5 generic.
You mean Tome of the Guild Pacts?
Tomb of the
Guild Pact. Ooh, that sounds pretty dull. That's the next set coming.
That's the next set. After Nicol Bolas comes and curb stomp everyone.
Again.
Tomb of the Guild Pact.
No, Tome! Try again, don't sound lucky.
Tome of the Guild Pact.
There we go.
5 generic mana for an artifact. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, draw a card, tap, and 1 mana of any colour. So
yeah, I mean it's a slight rock, but also Mormir Vig likes you.
Mormir Vig or a really heavy 5-colour deck like Ramos. Ramos might like this. He plays nothing but multicolored spells for the ability to put counters on him, and this taps for mana fixing and draws cards, so it's alright.
And in a similar fashion, Glass of the Guild Pact, a 2-mana artifact that says multicolored creatures get +1/+1. So you'd probably play them both in the same deck if you were going to play, but it would have to be one of those multicolored cards matter one.
They ain't great, fam.
Now the gold cards, where there's a fair few, so we're just going to whiz through them because I am aware this video is nearly an hour long now.
And there are a lot of them. This is a very gold set, which is good for the theme, and also I like when they go mana intensive with cards.
Yeah, so first of all, Applied Biomancy. It's green and a blue instant. Choose one or both, so why not both? Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn, or return target creature to its owner's hand.
Yeah, unsummon's alright.
To me, it's very much a case of, oh, you're swinging at me, I'm going to block this, but make it so my thing's bigger than yours, so lives, but yours dies, and let's put it on back to your hand. Like, it's 2 mana, lol.
It's okay. Alpha split card, Repudiate and Replicate. Repudiate is hybrid green-blue for an instant, counter target activate or triggered ability, and Replicate is 1 generic, 1 green, 1 blue for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. So we have a slightly worse crackling counterpart and the slightly worse part of Disallow.
But most commanders have good activator or triggered abilities. That's why you play them.
I love the fact that I like the options. I always love options. So either I can get another copy of my big thing or my impressive thing, or if you're trying
stop
to...
Avengers Zendikar?
Yeah, I can stop your Avengers Zendikar. I can
again.
stop your Creator Huff trigger, or if you're trying to kill me with Aetherflux Reservoir triggers, no!
Yeah, it seems like it's a answer. It's not a dead call because you've got the option of both cards, right?
That's why I love it.
If no one's playing abilities, you go cool, let's make a copy of what I've got. So.
Exactly my point.
The next one is Biomancer's Familiar. Again, just a green and a blue for a 2/2 mutant. How this card made it past R&D, I don't know.
I like that, because this card I don't think will see a lot of constructed standard play, nor will it see a lot of constructed modern play. Exactly, they're making this for EDH players who might not be able to afford the cards that have these effects.
So Training Grounds.
Yes, because this card's effect is entirely just Training Grounds, much the same with Prime Speaker Vanitha. They've just copy and pasted the effect onto a creature, printed it in a standard set, will not see play in standard, so now people who don't have money for Create Huff or Training Grounds or Birthing Pod can have a similar, or if not the exact same effect, so they can still play with powerful effects in the format.
But they're never going to be as good, so the price won't be higher because you've got a better alternative. So,
don't get me wrong. It's not as good as a 1 blue mana enchantment, but it's still good. I'm still going to play it.
Anyway, let's go through the card because I haven't actually said what it does yet. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana of an ability to less than 1 mana.
Literally.
So that's the fair bit.
That's the literally Training Grounds.
You can't go combo off. Training Grounds can make it 0.
No, it can't.
Can it not?
Nope.
Ah, the more you know.
It's that portion, much like Prime Speaker Vanitha, is just the Control-C, Control-V of Training Grounds.
Okay, and then the tap, next time target creature adapts this turn, it adapts as though it had no +1/+1 counts on it.
Let's just get rid of that.
If it sees any standard play, that might be helpful, but I don't think it will.
It's the top bit that matters.
It's making things easier to activate.
Exactly. My next split card, because I love my split cards. Revival and Revenge. For hybrid white-black and hybrid white-black, you get a sorcery with return target creature card with convert mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and Revenge. 4 generic, 1 white, 1 black. Double your life total. Target opponent loses half their life, rounded up.
See, I like the first bit, but not so much the second bit, because to me, I always look at it as if you are making someone lose any amount of life, that's a thing. But being able to say you lose half your life, you can never kill someone with that. If they're on 1 life, it doesn't do anything. I like cards that say deal a number, because that can be really effective. I can kill someone. But saying half, the later in the game you play it, the worse it is, and it's never going to actually win the game for you.
But this out with something like, I can't think of the card. The art is 2 hands cradling blood. Whenever you gain life.
Card.
Yes, if you have that card out with this, double your life total. Say you're on 30. I'll double it. You can lose 30 and your other opponent can have their life total halved. And in something with a Loro in it, just doubling your life total is still pretty good.
Yeah, but then equally, if you use it against someone who's playing a Loro, then you just gain so
funny.
much life. But again, it's the option between 2 things.
Exactly. If you need your combo piece back, or you need to gain some life, or just really knock someone down a peg, it's great for that.
Next is Cindervines, another 2 mana card. This is a red and a green this time though. It's an enchantment that says whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cindervines deals 1 damage to that player. Sick. And another ability, because 1 ability is not enough in this set. 1 mana, sacrifice Cindervines, destroy target artifacts or enchantment. Cindervines deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. So it's a 3 mana. It's like a Reclamation Sage, but it also shocks them as well.
It's also instant speed, so you can just hold it up.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that whenever they cast a non-creature spell, do a little bit of damage. I don't know, what's the equivalent of Bolt and Shock for 1 damage? Is there one? Good shot? I don't know.
No.
It deals 1 damage to them.
It's a lovely card. I find it hilarious.
Yeah, and it's being an enchantment, it's one of those where it's like, it's just there. There's not really much enchantment removal as such in Commander. And if there is, you can sacrifice it in response to get rid of something and then hurt someone.
Exactly the point.
It's not like it's that scary until you play good cards.
Keeping with enchantments, Simek Ascendancy for, again, 1 green and 1 blue.
But they didn't do the cycle of ascendancies this time.
I think they might have learned their lesson with Jeskai. 1 generic, 1 green, 1 blue. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It's alright, it's instant speedable. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature control, put that many growth counters on Simek Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simek Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game because Azuri needed more win conditions.
The fact that it's only 20 as well is... That's achievable. That's not difficult to do.
That's ridiculous, especially with its own ability being able to put counters on it if you have no other means of doing it.
Yeah, if you find a way to make infinite mana and you have a creature, you've won.
No, Azuri now runs 98 cards.
Yeah, like there's so many good low-cost cards in this set
that
are powerful.
It's a great set.
It's great. Next is Deputy of Detention. For 1, a white and a blue, you get a 1/3 Vidalcan Wizard. It's Detention Sphere on a stick. What more do you want in life?
Detention Sphere.
Yes, but now you can have 2 Detention Spheres. What's better than 1? 2. But this one also blocks things and dies to removal.
That's not a good line of thought, though, Martin. But no, he's a good card. Our next one is the best Wrath they have printed in a very long time.
Damnation.
Thank you, Wizards. Kaya's Wrath. Double white, double black, sorcery, destroy all creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you control that were destroyed this way.
Yeah.
For 4 mana, I was expecting a drawback, like you lose life equal to the number of creatures that died this way that you own.
It's more like a recompense for losing your creatures. You may have board wiped and you've suffered from this as well, but here's some life to make up for it.
It's fantastic.
It's mana intensive. You have to play just a black-white
you have to be really intense into black-white. It won't replace Damnation in some formats because Regenerate is a bit of a thing in Modern, but it's not a thing in Commander as far as I'm aware.
I mean, you get the odd thing, but...
Yeah, but it's merely indestructible or hexproof. But no, it's a 4-mana board wipe with potential life gain. It's great.
Yeah.
Good job, Wizards.
The next card is also an Orzhov card. It's Final Payment. It's a white and a black because 2 mana spells again. An instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay 5 life or sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Destroy target creature. So it's one of those where it's you've got tokens or you've got a random enchantment out.
Or you're playing a lore and you don't care about your life total.
Yeah, it's a case of, I need that thing that's about to kill me to die. Sacrifice this creature, kill it. Or if I'm really desperate, I'll pay the 5 life to stop it hitting me for 12, so it's saving me life anyway.
For a common, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great kill spell. It's just it's an options card again. Yeah. Again, you've got many ways of doing it. It's like, how much do you not want to be that creature to be there? Will you pay life? Will you sack a creature? What do you want to pay to get rid of that?
Keeping with removal, Bedevil. Double black and red for an instant. Destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker.
So again, with the options, you can choose what to get rid of. It's quite...
Exactly. We'll take a look at cards like Dreadbore. Doesn't hit an artifact. Terminate doesn't hit a planeswalker or an artifact. Hero's Downfall doesn't hit an artifact. Yeah, you have to be in Rakdos to do it. But if you are, this is the best removal I've seen for those calls in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. The next card I found that I liked was Frilled Mystic, which is 2 green, 2 blue for a 3/2 elf lizard wizard. Lizard wizard.
Say that 5 times fast.
I like lizard wizard. It's Mystic Snake on a lizard wizard.
It's literally the same effect as lizard.
Still a reptile, but changed to also a elf.
I'm liking the focus on EDH cards being reprinted with slight tweaks in this set. It's very nice.
You may counter target spell when it enters the battlefield and it has flash. So
4 mana.
It's a counter spell on a creature.
4 mana, get a 3/2. So its stats are better than Mystic Snake.
But is it more colour intensive or is that?
It's more colour intensive because Mystic Snake's only 1 generic mana, 1 green and 2 blue. But I will pay that extra green. I think we can. Next card, Enchantment Rhythm of the Wild. For 1 generic, 1 red and 1 green, you get an enchantment with creature spells you control can't be countered. Oh dear, control players. And non-token creatures you control have Riot. Isn't this just combo-tacular with cards with Persist?
Yeah, being able to say you can't counter my stuff, ha ha ha, is handy.
Well, there is also the very easy combo you can do with stuff like Woodfall Primus, or if we're in blue, Glenlender Archmage. Whack an Ashnod's Altar out there, give them Riot, and always say +1/+1 counter. Then you have a loop of either destroying all their non-land permanents, or countering everything they will ever do. It's a very silly card.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a little and funky. Theatre of Horrors is 1, a black and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile a top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play cards exiled this way. 4 mana, Theatre of Horror deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Now the reason I like this is because other cards that have a similar effect, like
Outpost Siege.
That's the one I was thinking of, you know me so well. They exile a card and you have to play it that turn, otherwise it's exiled forever. Whereas this is exiled and can still be played several turns later, provided your opponent loses life. So you might exile a card, the next turn exile a card, the next turn exile a card, then you deal them damage, or you can cast all 3 in the same turn provided you have the mana.
Yeah.
So you never lose cards unless this gets destroyed.
It's pseudo card advantage in Rakdos, which you're not going to say you knows about.
No.
And only Planeswalker that I want to talk about, so consider this a special privilege. Domri Chaos Bringer. For 2 generic and 1 red and 1 green, you get a 5 loyalty Planeswalker, +1 and red or green to your mana pool. If that mana is spent for a creature, it gains Riot. -3, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creatures from among them, put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And -8, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of each end step, create a 4/4 red and green beast token with trample.
So yeah, this is one where it doesn't look great when you first look at it, but the more you look into it, the more you think actually for EDH this might be okay.
So it's 4 mana Planeswalker, 5 loyalty, already okay. He's there for you with ramp, make your spells either hasty or bigger. He's there for you with your card draw for your -3 ability. And should the stars align, he's got a relevant emblem ability, a 4/4 on your end step, on your opponent's end step. You get a 4/4, if it's everyone's still alive at this point in the game, you're going to have 4 more 4/4s by the time it gets back round to you.
And what I like about him is that you play him turn 4, let's say. Then turn 5, you can play a 6-drop, and let's just say it's a vanilla 6/6 with his ability. It's either a 6/6 of haste, or it's a 7/7.
It is options.
Yeah, so it seems like you're ahead of the curve by more than just 1 mana with him.
And even as -3, it is up to 2 creatures, so it's not just you have to pick 1, you get 2 creatures from the cards that you're looking at. And in a creature-heavy Gruul deck, which they tend to be, then that's essentially drawing 2 cards.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good.
When I first looked at him, I was like, I don't like him that much, but then you pointed him out, and he is okay. He's not like amazing Planeswalker, must be played in every deck.
Don't get me wrong, he's not getting windmill slammed in any deck, but he's still nice.
He seems like I'd test him out. I'd give him a go.
Oh yeah, he's going to. He's nice.
Better than the original Tommy Raid.
Yes. Yes, he is. I tried to make that card work so many times.
I tried to make it work too, but it was in Gashath I tried him, but he's just not powerful enough.
He's just not quite there.
Next one is Macabre Mockery. For 2, a black and a red. It's an instant, which is the important part of this. Put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gets +2/+0 and gains haste until the end of turn. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. So you can either use it to steal their thing and swing at them. You can use it to steal their ETB creature or whatever. Or you can use it to make a blocker because it's instant speed. You can go, right, you'll swing at me with that. I'll bring back something bigger, block it, kill it, lol. So that's why I think it's better than most recursion, because it's instant speed.
It's instant speed, it hits any opponent's creatures, and I can just imagine so many funny times of, I'll grab your Avenger of Zendikar, your Sun Titan, anything with a lovely little ETB trigger to get you advantage and make a blocker, kill your creature for 4 mana. Lovely.
Yeah. And there's one more card, just like a bonus one, I'd like to bring up if I may.
Ooh, go on.
It's High Alert. 1, a white and a blue enchantment. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have defender. And for 2, a white and a blue untapped target creature. You know I love my Arcades.
You just want this for Arcades.
I just want this for Arcades. It's Arcades, but if Arcades isn't there for some reason, and the 4 mana untapped target creature is I have nothing else to my mana, might as well make my 7/7 wall also be able to block.
Yeah.
So
I may as well say give Vigilance, but that'll do.
yeah, there's other cards that give it Vigilance.
And that'll be it for our set review of Ravnica Allegiance. But what is the card you're most excited about seeing? Leave it in the comments below. Or what's the best legendary do you think of this set? As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter @4commander. And if you really like us, you could consider becoming a patron yourself. As always, we'll see you next time.